Stagnancy is the #1 killer of innovative black men. So black men, y'all my target for this one.
Yondo.
Keep progressing. The dramatic use of the word killer is not meant to be taken lightly, because lack of progression is the only reason we stay targets in our communities. Not because we're uneducated, but because we aren't held accountable for progressing. If we are content with being where we are, then unfortunately, in the eyes of society, that means we okay with being a casualty of our environment. And no, that's not a misuse of the phrase. Of course, normally it includes the term product rather than casualty, but for people of my demographic, casualty by any definition of the word would be more fitting for the conditions and stigmas that we have to deal with just by relation and association of our environment when we inevitably make it our final destination. No, I'm not saying this in a physical sense of the word, but in terms of a mindset, y'all. Growing up, being a first-generation college graduate, a lot of people in my community, to them, that's enough. Not understanding that more than 40% of graduates take positions once they're done with school that their degree don't even apply to. Wasted time and money. And my story is no different. So what is it that I'm actually being celebrated for? It can't be for achieving a goal that nearly 90% of the white people do at a minimum. But let's just make it a little more personal in terms of my demographic. Since the assassination of Dr. King in '68, the unemployment rate for African Americans is at 7.5%. That's not even a whole percentage higher than it was 50 years ago, because we okay with being stagnant. Only 40% of black Americans own homes in the U.S., and that's barely any difference than it was in 1968, because we remain stagnant. But you know what has risen rapidly though? Our incarceration rates have tripled. And why do you think that is? Because what better way to make a person stagnant or keep them behind in society than to remove them from it completely? Exactly. It's just like when you miss a week of school and you come back and they don't let you make up the work, or it's too much to make up. Just now, instead of a test or some homework assignments being what you miss, it's 15 years of your son or daughter's life. To be stagnant is to be showing no activity. But I'll even take it a step forward and add showing no activity of value. As I stated before, there's always movement, but the direction of your movement determines the premonition of your narrative. We need to think and act for our future generations, y'all, in order to create generational wealth. Not just want to live in it while we here. Those cars lose value. Those chains definitely lose value. Those people who don't advance you, you know they draining you. We need to be focused on progression and innovation, man. Are you moving forward, being held back, or just being stagnant? That should be the question we ask ourselves, no matter the avenue of life or the degree of difficulty of the challenge. In every facet, we should be progressing. Stagnancy or contentment is a luxury that we as innovative black men just can't afford. Not because we don't deserve it, but because our narrative is just a little different. We were brought into this world being taught how to survive, not to progress. We weren't able to think about what was next because we had to think of how to overcome the obstacles of right now. We got to break this mindset and use our survival instincts to our advantage, y'all. We need to become a product of our environment. To be from the struggle, to be from the bottom, to be from a place where everybody doubts you, to be from a place of hate. That was the true blessing. It prepared us for the world, but at a speed that the majority couldn't understand unless they experienced it like we did. But yes, survival is maintaining. But what about when you gone? At what point do we break the cycle and say, I'm not trying to survive in this world. I'm trying to make sure my great grandkids get to live and focus on progression, not just survival. Stop giving our future generations a late start, y'all. Let our last lap be our best lap and leave a legacy of head starts in this world where we being lapped and lapped and lapped, when in actuality, we are the elite. Knowledge is power, young kings. Inform and lead our queens. That's our duty. Seek knowledge aside from your education. I'm challenging you to learn your worth so that your value will be seen before your complexion. Take time to understand where you belong so that your journey has a destination at the top. Let's break the mantra that we must live a life of maintaining. We have to live a life of reigning, like the kings and queens that we are. It's our responsibility too. With that being said, let's hunt.